Hold on to your heads, folks. Orlando Pirates are back in PSL action this weekend in an away encounter versus Polokwane City. And yeah, we are in good form, playing some winning football. And on paper, there should be no surprises. We should be just going there and collecting 3 points. But life just is, things just don't come that easy and that simple. As this week, yes, recently, we have been rocked by the news that José Riveiro will not be renewing his contract, which means this is his last chance to win the league. So how will this affect this game? How will it affect the rest of the season? We are yet to see. Okay, so in this video, let us discuss the mental approach that you go into as a Buccaneers fan, and then we're going to look at my predicted lineup, predicted 11 formations, tactics. We'll also give you team news, and we're obviously going to end off with the score predictions. And I don't know of anybody who likes to miss such things. Definitely not me. So join us, yes. But before we kick off, please say hello to my little friend and hit the like, hit the subscribe to be notified, and share the video. Nama Buccaneers, so you can grow the community. Don't go in advance. Yeah. Hey, it's all about faith. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Happy People TV, Orlando Pirates fan channel. Yes, like I said in the intro, this is the match preview for the game against Polokwane City in the Betway Premiership. I am joined by my guest, Mr. Mafelongo, for today's preview. How are you doing, Chief?
Wow, Mapaganea, catch the song on the watch along that we did, but fair to 2.0. Mr. Mafelong, thank you very much for having me here with you today, KB.
So, you guys know the sequence, team approach, team news, predicted lineups, and then predicted scores. So let's get into it. Mr. Mafelong, yeah. It's been a long week. It's been a long period ever since the international break was done. A lot has happened, but it is our first Betway Premiership game ever since then. I was talking to Mr. Coach, who couldn't be available for this one. He was saying, Eish, Yazin and Fit, let's try and block out all the noise, all the news, and just try to focus on this game as a game. So with that said, how would you approach this game as a Buccaneer?
Just firstly and foremost, today I'm the number one replacement for the one and only Mr. Analytical approach to games, Mr. Coach. Just giving him a shout out, but fair to don't forget to add his handle, Tepo Papole, which is Coach. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow. You'll get to understand our personalities there. But just to go deep and dive into the game, the approach, and what we're expected to do and how to perform. Number one, I think it's going to be a very tight game. Everybody's trying to close down the season. At least having to have made it in the top 8. Looking at Polokwane's stats, where they are, just to look back at their previous game, they didn't really do that well, but that doesn't stop us from knowing that they can disappoint you on their good day. It's a team that I think when we approach, we shouldn't just think of them as being a team that is incapable. We should not think of taking the game lightly, especially having to have come so far, being in the CAF and performing the way that we are. I think we deserve to be in the CAF again next year. That will just, for me, solidify that, we are in the right headspace, we are doing the right thing, and that we're not just going to allow any team to, walk over us. As to approach this game, I will just like to say that I think just for the boys themselves, I think they should not approach the game thinking that because of the circumstances that Pirates is actually facing, by that I mean the departure
the obvious
the departure of one of the big coaches that we've had that has, given us so much joy. The boys should not feel as though they have lost, but instead allow him to leave the way he entered. And how he came, he gave them, trophies, he gave them celebrations. So I think the boys should take this game on to say we're celebrating the one man that got them to where they are I think they should also, just take it on as a form of respect, paying respect to Jose. I think I don't doubt at any point that we have anyone who is incapable to approach this game lightheartedly. I think a lot of the players as well also kind of need a chance. But what I would love the team to do is focus on making sure that we're getting the results, and then we'll then look as to what we have on our bench to see where we are and what will be the next year's approach. But the next games that are coming, for us, they're very, very, very important to solidify our spot in the CAF again. Okay. I know sometimes we are looking at the numbers and we are hopeful that, Sundowns could flop somewhere somehow. I would just like to keep the number 2 spot, if otherwise.
Okay, so basically, I mean, to keep a number 2 spot, honestly, for me, is not going to be that hard. So I see how you want to approach this game. Keep it respectfully. Make sure. To me, the way it sounds, that you're putting it is that it's not so much of the most important game to win, but bigger picture number 2. It's a must win. It's okay if we draw, or is it about the performance?
All of the above that you've just mentioned. Look, I don't think that anyone should take this game lightly.
Okay.
We need the points.
Yes.
We need the performance. We need the right state of mind and heart.
Okay.
We need to approach this game as serious as if the league has just started. So we've lost so many points, and I believe we need to gain them back. So yeah,
must win.
Must win, Prayako.
Yeah, I think when it comes to like even the way we looking at this game as a channel, not just our individual opinions. I feel like I was thinking about this earlier, and I think, every chance right now, or every league game right now going forward, is a chance to thank Jose. That's the way I feel. So what does that mean? It means, Yasin, we've been asking ourselves whether we should, look at the CAF and, maybe rest some players. Like right now, we are in between 2 legs of CAF. So another club would say, okay, boys, are we resting the best ones so that we can make sure in the second leg? And we are just so lucky that we won away from home. But now every league game for the way I feel, and I feel like the channel's narrative right now is, if he's leaving, then why not go for every trophy? Obviously, the CAF stands at the top as the most important. But I feel like a league game is a chance to prove to Jose that, what you are leaving, you're going to miss it. So that's my mental approach. And I think that kind of translates to a must win in my eyes. What does that mean? It means we're going to, I want us to attack in terms of approach. But I like the holistic approach that you gave us, Mr. Mafelong. It's going to be a difficult one. So let's get into some team news. Is there anybody, Mr. Mafelong, that you have heard of that is back in training from an injury or closer to starting? With that said, I do know, I haven't heard anything about Tito being back. The club released a preview of sorts earlier today, and I didn't see anything in the way of new players or new people coming into the fitness that weren't there before. Trainer, what do you think, Mr. Mafelong? Do you think just because he was a trainer, it means he even stands a chance of playing? I'm not even asking about starting. Does he even stand a chance of playing, arriving on the pitch? What do you think?
So many games that we've approached, we've hoped, especially couple of games that we played that were so big for us. We had hoped that we would be able to see Saleng on the pitch. I think he's one of the players we have that we rely on, especially facing big matches. I think at this point, just as the community, the Buccaneer community at large, I don't want to keep my hopes up because I believe there are boys that we have that are raising their hands to say, you know what, if the club at large is depending on a specific player, they've raised their hands to, make sure that they stand out. The likes of Nkota, Cocomelon in the previous match, he came on, and just the maturity that he is gaining match in, match out just comes to show that we sometimes want certain players and to challenge certain matches, but we also do have players good enough to face such matches, and going forward they are doing really their best. So as for Saleng and his stories and all these things that he is going through, I don't really want to dive too much into it because that's just only raising hopes for things that are hopeless. I don't want to be hopeless.
So you're saying when it comes to the way you think about this game, feed. No, that I understand. So in terms of team news, like I see at Abafed too, we know what we know, and we're not going to talk about things we don't know. Don't answer for people that you don't know, So, okay, cool. That is it for team news. So I think right now, let's look at the opposition. As you can see here, I've already got them in the standings. They are number 6 in the league so far, and they only hey, there's so much of not much of a difference, Mr. Mafelong. I don't know if you know, but between number 3 and number 7, there's only 2 points in it. But anyway, number 6, but with just one draw, they could already be number 3. Imagine that. So I feel like they do have a lot to play for. I know it's Buccaneers, but they're at home, so they're gonna say, guys, a draw can already get us into the CAF Confed places. So actually, maybe this is a big game for them. Mr. Buffalo, these are the match standings, and then I'm just gonna go into the last 5 games, and then I know that you were looking at the last couple of games in terms of how they are doing. So they have 2 draws, 2 losses, and 1 win in the last 5. What does that say about their form and how they're going to go into this game for you?
Look, soccer is soccer, fit. Soccer is soccer. A team can lose 5 games and come and face number 1 and win that match. We're in an era where now soccer is no longer as predictable as it could or used to be, where we knew certain teams would dominate or were able to just dominate the PSL throughout, especially this meaning I'm basically pointing this out on the bigger team, on big teams. We usually knew that they would be able to just, such small teams would be as a walk down the park. Over. Polokwane City, looking at how it first came into the league and how it was relegated, how they come back into the league. They basically, I would say it's an almost type of a deja vu scenario where I believe, if I'm not mistaken, when they were once relegated and came back into the PSL, and I think they took the number 2 or 3 spot, but they were quite at the top at the time. If not, I think they
even
made the
earlier
top
this
4.
season in F2, they were neck and neck. I mean, I did just say they've been they are neck and neck because that position 3 till 7 is not so whatever. It's not so tight. But for now, I feel like I'm just a little bit disappointed. I feel like from the beginning of the season, they are not as good as they were at the beginning of this season? Or are you saying, Horan, I'm reading too much into it? They're still as good as they were. They are still dangerous. There's nothing that I should be taking for granted.
No, look, nothing that you're saying is actually false. I'm not taking any of your points away. But what I'm looking at it most is that a lot of the players that such teams like Polokwane has are players that actually want to stay in the PSL and not go back to where they were. These players are also trying to, put their signatures out there to show what specialities they can produce in games that are as big as this. I mean, for Polokwane City to face Orlando Pirates, it's not a game approach that they're going to take lightly. They've had the likes of Apollos who, Pirates has been looking at the boy. They've got talent that is there. Some
international level.
National
level.
I would say national level, not international level.
Sure.
But what I'm talking about a lot is players that are willing to fight to stay in the PSL.
I mean, to stay in the PSL, to fight for that is one thing. That means I must just make sure against TS Galaxy. And then when it comes to Buccaneers, I don't need to beat Buccaneers to stay in the PSL. But I think I get your point when
I believe so. Can I just interject there a bit?
Yeah.
I've noticed one thing, and I've watched multiple games or multiple teams play against different teams and how they actually come and they approach the game when they are playing us. They play much better than the games that they played previously. And how I think the game will be like, the players, you may think that, they're trying to do their best when they're playing against cheaper, but they actually do their best when they're playing against Pirates. Cool. So we're like one of the go-to clubs for them to get a better name, to do well.
There we go.
To find recognition, to get the proper scouts that they need, So when I feel like when they come and play Pirates, it becomes a lot challenging. And for me, I would not love the team at all to take this game lightly. So every moment is going to count for me as to what combinations do we have on the pitch. Who is our playmaker? I would like to see new players take on big roles. But the one thing that for me as a Buccaneer that I would love to see is us settling the match first half, and let's deal with finding new combinations approaching the second half.
Cool. Well, when I look at the head-to-head, actually, I'm looking at match by match here, but I'm confused. You wanna the 3-0, the 1-0, it's a Buccaneers. 4-1, 1-1, and the things that I've just read now are going back to 2020. And like you were saying, they haven't been in the league that often. So that's why this head-to-head is actually going back many years, more than I wanted. But I think in this head-to-head thing that I'm looking at right now, it just means we have scored 31 and they have conceded 16 goals. And then 18 goals. And then there's another stat here where they have scored 18 and won 14. I'm guessing this is when we've beaten them. We've scored 31 and they've conceded 18. And when they've beaten us, that head-to-head overall is 18 for them and 14 for us. So even when they beat us, Abareje got that big over margin. That's what I'm reading from this. And then I just wanted to give you guys an overall for the last 10 games head-to-head. We've beaten them 6 times. We've drawn 3. And they've only beaten us once. And that goes back many years. So my confidence just went up. My confidence just went up. And I don't even want to look at the head-to-head between the coaches. So I just wanted to, for the viewers, I guess, because for me, if it was just me, analyzer too sly. Oh, analyzer too sly. Analyzer wrong too sly. So I just wanted to give you guys a couple of danger players that are not that much danger, apparently, according to my research. So here they are.
With the point that you've just mentioned, KB, it's a very important point for us as a team to approach this match. To say that, when you look at a team that plays holistically, looking at the number of players that were able to contribute to their successes or being able to approach their goalposts, it just comes to show that we should not at any point just focus on one player. I know that they have the likes of Apollos that they're hoping a lot on. They rely a lot on. Sorry for that. To create the goals, to create the play, to be a more of their exciting player. And I would not want us to focus on one player, but because of the number of players that are contributing to the game or the match or the games that they've been able to succeed in, we should then be able to say we are closing each and every gap. Not to say that we're looking at one player, but to focus a lot on us to get the goals and to make sure that we are just boosting our confidence going forward. I think if we can approach the game and take it as serious as any match that we go, especially facing these big teams, Polokwane City is no small team that we should say we can take advantage over.
I disagree.
You disagree? I think it's fair, but I feel like is that now that we don't have a solid 11 that we rely on, that we had established because due to the injuries that we have, what the current winning squad is looking like is the squad that we should start with. Make sure that we at least make sure that first half two goals in fact, before we introduce anyone who hasn't had enough game time to see their capabilities going forward.
Great.
Yes.
I think that is a good way. So nahana about who should have, you're looking on the pitch, which is a good time to go into our predicted lineup. So khonong hlalosetsa ke shebile tlape ya hao ke ska utla ka di philosophy fela. Yes, so football philosophy ya hao e reng, Mr. Kado? Mr. Mafello. Here I am looking at your predicted XI. What would you have to say about this team?
I think some of the players that we have, the reason why my squad is set out the way that it is, for Sipo Chain, I think he has proved it to us as Mapagania that he's the number one. The reason why I started with the likes of Buthelezi, I feel like he needs more game exposure. He's got his little mini sloppy moments, but I really hope for him specifically in goals that he has seen how Sipo Chain has handled it and how he responds and how he manages the games. I mean, I'm having to observe someone of that caliber who you are basically just second to. That's more of a motivation to now when he approaches a game of this sort, he can try and use the skills and knowledge that he was able to gain looking at our past games that we've played. Each and every position in Pirates is very important, but I would love to give him a start in this match just to see what he has learned and going forward how his experience traveling with the team, having to observe Chain and his work ethic, how he can actually improve. So I'd give him this game. Looking at Mbogas, he's our TLB. I'm not gonna say much, but I trust him to hold down that
left
spot.
back. You wear TLB or left back? What's the thinking behind that?
What's the thinking behind that is to allow Hoto. I love using Hoto in my predictions. On the left back. I would love a bit of some speed. The reason why, if you're looking at where I even placed Hoto at, I said it in my previous, I think whether it was the watch along, where I said I like how Hoto protects the boys. I like how he shields the boys. I like how he's always there when when they make a mistake, he always tries to cover up for them. So him having the speed and I mean there's Radio Pani Mufukeng and Nkota right next to him, little boys. Hoto for me is the type of senior player for them to look up to, especially with his work ethic. And having them there being so young, I would just like the fact that he is able to move from right to left.
So he's there to be the leadership of the attack.
Be the leadership of the attack.
Okay. Not necessarily umrata go left wing.
No, not necessarily that.
He's just there to captain them.
And having TLB on the left, it gives him a bit of a break to say, I don't have to focus too much at going back. Instead, let me try and give the boys more motivation going forward. And for him to also upskill his, I think Koto sometimes he doesn't really make the best of decisions when it comes to attack. So this then allows him to just restructure himself as a player, for him to find the goals again, for him to find his creativity in the front line. So yeah.
All right, cool. For now, I understand. Yeah, so I can see the defense, Fidi, as we would expect. I'm surprised that you trust Olgi like that. And I can see that you are going for a very young attack with Mufukeng in the 10, which means I assume but and the double pivot is the regular double pivot.
Look, the hashtag I think even I don't want people to say, Kato, you're contradicting yourself. You're saying Mfukeng should have been, especially in the previous matches where I had some pointers as to why is he playing the 10? Why is he there? I feel like he's usually facing the opposite side. And thinking about the number 10 itself, it's a playmaking position. So I would love him because of him being the president, him having to have come into the first team and has made such a big name for himself. Somewhere, somehow, we also need to find a different 10 besides the ones that we know. So I'm naming Dlamini and Tito in that aspect. So I think this game, Mfukeng can try and improve his number 10. And I believe as we approach or going into the next season, if it so happens that we then find another player that can not replace, but that we can add on to our squad, Mfukeng can actually start now working towards perfecting his position. And I believe he can do a really great job. He's a quite creative boy.
Great. All right, how it's Danko. It's a little bit different. I like it. I actually like it. I wouldn't mind seeing that formation. It's a game, especially in a game where we expected to win, where we are the favorites, and I'm expecting us not to make any mistakes, and I'm not scared. So yeah, understand that. Sharp. So when it comes to my formation in Phase 2, I think you'll tell me if you can't see it properly, but I went with Mabasa Kopil in Phase 2. I think I'd like to see him again. I think he's had enough of a rest. This is not a kind of team where we need to be worrying too much about this step, but the defender Tabona, and we're not afraid of their defense. None of my book. And then obviously on the wings I've got the Cucumelons, and then I'm going with the same midfield three that we're used to without Tito. I think Dlamini, sure, he didn't have much joy in the last game, but there was a non-possession game, and he thrives in possession. So without Tito, in a game where we're the favorites, still doing a good job. The back four is the back four as we know, except I fit in a TLP, and we haven't seen him play too often. We've mostly seen him play in the back three. Let's see him in a back four. I would like to see that just for data purposes. I'd like a back four in this game. and he still was a rock and he was the rock and the hard place at the same time. Yeah, and then the rest is the same. Active now, but hey, ke a bona hore o batla ntate abti teliza ithola game time a ka ithola squatting sa hao mara squat saka se hloka simple chain at the back. And so you guys can also please tell us what your predicted lineups would be. Mr. Mafelong, I'm going to give you a chance to comment on my lineup, and then we're going to go into the score predictions. Yibo, what's in the lineup, Yam?
Your lineup is a very good lineup. I'm not going to dispute that. Just a FIFA comment with it. I know you with FIFA, when it came to tactics, you were very, 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 very challenging. You're one player you're one person that used to beat me with high scores. So I do not doubt anything or anyone that you've placed or the formation that you've chosen. It's a typical KP.
China formation, my FIFA prowess.
It's also with that.
Yeah,
I can already see. Yeah. Okay, I like it because you've included basically, I would say, more or less. I'd rather say, I would say this is our current 11 if we are speaking about. It's our current 11. One of my points where I would love to have a solid team to go into the work and bring in the new players, but what I would also like the players that are not getting game time, the likes of your Radio Pani. I believe in the boy.
That's why you put him in your thing.
You know.
Okay. That's your formation. But yeah,
no, I'm touching on. I'm going with what you're doing.
Yeah,
and I'm just saying why I did certain things.
Okay.
Yours is a typical, not typical, but any Buccaneer would say yes, that's the one.
Uncle. For me, that's
but the new boy, what I was just saying is that I would love to see the new boys singing for Chikala game. So by doing that, there's a lot that these little boys have to offer us. There's a lot for them to still win our hearts. Yes, we trust them, but we still want to give them that big chance to say, start the game, and let's rather rate you from starting the game, and at least when you're taken out, then we know where you were lacking. Rather than giving them a chance, set to 15 minutes. It's like, we don't really get to experience what you can do and what you can't.
Yeah.
But in your formation, seeing that you have included Mabasa. Mabasa is our goal poacher. He's proven himself. I like your formation. I would like to tweak it a bit, but just introduce someone young, someone vibrant, someone who has speed.
Yeah. But look at midfielding, actually, in order to rest one of Mabata and Makaula was actually one thing I wanted to do. I think the only thing that I might not have gotten to or that I might have made a mistake with in this one, I think maybe Mosele on Ndlondlo could have actually fit in here. Ndlondlo Mosele. Don't take it at face value. Ndlondlo Mosele is supposed to be here, but fit. Let's get into the score predictions. Quick fire. What is going to be the score when the time comes around and we have to face Polokwane City? So basically, at 6 o'clock Saturday afternoon, score. Orlando Pirates 2-0, according to Mr. Mafelong. I think it could be a 2 or a 3-0. So just in case, just to give it different, 3-0 Buccaneers for José. Stop. 3-0. Aktsibi haibe Mr. Mafelong yena tla keep a clean sheet ka bothelesi mara na ya tsaba squad saga /tapatapeu 3-0. And guys, I know you guys want to tell us how you guys think it's gonna go, and sometimes you're all right. So let's see if you're going to get it right this time. It's been a while since I've been right. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. But for Jose, 3-0. Mafelong are 2-0. We would definitely like to see what you guys think will happen in the game. See,